Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis. And I always like to introduce the wonderful team that God has provided me. Let me start with my faithful assistant, Faith, who has been my assistant all of her life, really. She came to church when she was 3 weeks old, but she was more of her dad's assistant for a while until she learned how to crawl. He would work the soundboard with one hand and hold Faith in the other, and then at some point she learned how to crawl, and he'd just let go of her, and she'd come right up on the stage like she belonged there. So we left her there. I had a portable mic, so it was easy. I'd just step over her and do what I was doing. And then we started putting her up on the podium when I would do announcements, and it was kind of cool because it seemed like people were listening more because there's this cute little baby sitting on the podium. And then she grew up 6 blocks from my house, and her dad was a tow truck driver. So when he would do out of town tows, he would always drop the girls at my house, and I always have projects going. I'm working on my great niece now. She did filing at my office. She's 8 years old. But anyway, so I got to see what, she was able to do. So when she was 14 and a half, she said, I want a real job. And I had just opened an ozone therapy business. So I hired her. And then when we went live for the pandemic, I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? And she said, yes. And so here we are. 5 years later, Easter will be 5 years. Wow. I can't even believe it. But anyway, yeah. And so she is the woman behind the scenes that does everything. I mean, literally everything. I only talk. I press a few buttons here and there, but mostly it's her. And so when we're in a facility, I look out and I see the shining faces beaming back at me. And I like knowing who's there. And with this software, I only get, a number. And unless somebody says, hi, hello, good morning, or they click the love button like Cindy Koch always does. Thank you so much, Cindy. I don't know who's here. There's no names or anything. So when you say hi, hello, good morning, Faith is the one that answers you as me, and she's very accurate most of the time. We always have this joke that between us we have a brain because we're so connected. And I go back and I look every now and then to see, did she cover everything? Is there a question that somebody asked or, that? And only twice in the last 5 years have I needed to add something. So she's really good at that. And we like to joke that, like in The Wizard of Oz, you pull back the curtain and there's this old guy there. And instead, when you pull back the curtain here, you see Faith. So please say hi, hello, good morning. However you would like to greet us. You can send a love, a heart, or whatever, and let us know that you are here. And she'll answer you as me. But before I talk about her singing, I don't know if you got my message or not, Cindy, but this beautiful soul that I have known since we were 18 years old, that's 50 years, over 50 years, sent me chocolate covered strawberries the other day, which is my absolute favorite thing. Like on Valentine's Day, I get myself chocolate covered strawberries. I wasn't able to do it this year. So she bought me some, sent it through Amazon. So I wanted to thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate that. And it was hard for me not to eat all of them at once. I've been eating one at a time. No, you can't have a second one. You have to wait, try to stretch them out as far as I can. Faith is also our singer, our soloist, and today she's going to be doing Lighten Up by Karen Drucker, which is one of my all-time favorite songs of hers, because I feel like we need to lighten up a little bit. And things are pretty heavy right now, so this was a perfect opportunity to do that. So thank you, Faith. I couldn't do this without you. And then there is my partner in crime, the wise and powerful Oz, who, like Faith, I contacted and I said, we're going live for the pandemic. Would you be willing to be practitioner of the day? And he said, yes. And I don't think either one of us knew that it was going to be every week for 5 years or possibly our lifetimes. I don't know. We'll see how long I last. We always thought that we'd have another practitioner that would be able to do some Sundays, but That hasn't manifested yet. So, he was my first baby practitioner back in 1998. We've known each other a long time. And then he became my board president when he graduated from practitioner training. And he was my board president for many years. And then he moved off to Florida. And so we lost the ability to have him in the service. So when the pandemic came and we started to do live, I was so blessed that he was willing to do that because we got him back. Practitioner of the day is, he does the invocation, the benediction, and he's available at the end for the 1-minute miracle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the service. But for right now, just know that he is my go-to guy. So thank you so much, Oz. I couldn't do this without you. Love you. And then there's the adjunct music team that I have. Reverend Fairy Lane Silver was the first one to ask me to do her music when we went live. And then Karen Drucker, who provided us with her entire collection as a gift, which was like 20 CDs at the time. But it was not just the CDs. It was the song files. It was karaoke files. It was the songbooks. So we'd have the lyrics and everything else. So I consider them my adjunct music team. They don't appear on camera, but they provide us what we need to be able to do a real church service, including music. And then there's Albertina Giuffre, who was our singer from like 2000 to I think 2021, basically. And she needed a break so that she could get her house ready for sale. And it just sort of turned into, she liked having the freedom of not being here every Sunday. And so Faith stepped up to be our singer. But Tina comes back for what she calls the crying season, which is Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, which is starting to come up. And she's also here for a couple of Sundays when we do our Advent series before Christmas. So Tina is part of the adjunct music team as well. I feel so blessed to have this team, because it really serves this church well. All right. There's a watch party button that you can press and invite all your friends to be here and see what kind of service we offer on Sundays. And then you can talk amongst yourselves because it's not public. And so if they have questions, that's a great opportunity to answer some of the questions that might pop up. All right. So I'd like to invite you right now to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song. They're moving things around again.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
presence of God is always right here and right now. For God, as we conceive of it, is all things, all that is, all that could be, all that might be, and all of that included in this one great being that we call God. It is the process by which creation evolves and maintains itself and shapes itself into something new. And this is always going on right here, right now. The cells are spinning in your body. Actually, they're not spinning, they're oozing and manifesting and cooperating with the cells next door to them, with the circulatory system, and all the way through to the brain and the heart, which interact with the outer environment in a perfect flow. That outer environment also interacting perfectly through all of its parts into the cosmos beyond, and all of that subsumed to that one greater process. Knowing that this is so, we can relax and know that God has everything in its hand and that its vision is perfect, for its vision encompasses all beings, all things, from the largest to the smallest, all enacting this one great operation. And we know that this is good and very good, and just let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much, Oz. I love his prayers. All right. If you are just tuning in, please say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. If when we're in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. Here, I get a number. I don't even get names. So it's a great way to let me know who's here. And if you like something, use the like button. So whether that's something I say or Oz prays or Faith sings. And if you love something, please send us hearts. We love to get love. And if something strikes you as powerful, use that wow button so that I get the feedback to let me know when I'm on track. So, all right. The next song is one that Reverend Fairy Lane Silver wrote during her practitioner training. And it's a great reminder that we are all connected by it, through it, as it.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in
it. Yes, we are all one. We are all connected. All right. Without further ado, I am going to turn this over to Faith singing Lighten Up by Karen Drucker.
Thank you. I was walking down the street, I was feeling mighty fine, till I caught a glimpse in a window out behind. There was a jiggle and a wiggle that I'd never seen before. And as I looked a little closer, oh my God, I found more. I freaked out and I shrieked out, this has just ruined my day. When I heard a voice inside me say, lighten up, don't take it so seriously. Lighten up, trust the mystery. Lighten up, it doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy your life and get out your way. Lighten up, Now I'm headed to a party to meet my friends. I've got an outfit that's to die for. Honey, I'm just the living end. But as I scope out the scene, it's obvious to me that the money at this party is simply obscene. They're talking about their mansions and their yachts and dropping names. In an instant I feel unworthy, small and ashamed. But as I tried to make a beeline, slip out the back door, I heard that voice inside me saying once more, lighten up. Don't take it so seriously. Lighten up. Trust the mystery. Lighten up. It doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy your life and get out of your way. Lighten up. Worrying and judging, what good does it do when you compare yourself to me and I compare myself to you? This disease to please has just got to go. When I love myself, that's all I need to know. Now I'm looking at the mirror, a new wrinkle has appeared. Do I curse it? Do I stress? It's the thing I most fear. But when I'm with my new mantra, and I soon realize that I am perfect, even with wrinkles and cellulite thighs. I don't have to change a thing, struggle or try, because my real beauty comes from deep inside. I know. Won't take it so seriously. I know. Gonna trust the mystery. I know. It doesn't matter anyway. I'm just enjoying my life and get out of your way. I know. Take it seriously. I know. Gonna trust the mystery. I know. Doesn't matter anyway. Just enjoy your life and get out of your way. I know.
Oh, I'm just gonna give myself a break.
Lighten up. It feels so good to lighten up.
Chihuahua back on my lap, so I can't clap loud. Thank you. I love that song. That is such a cool song, and it does just raise you up for the day when you sing it in the morning. I love it. Thank you so much, Faith. So our topic today is Lighten Up. I'm not here to address politics. That's not my job. My job is to help us feel better about our lives, to lift us up and let us have a good experience no matter what's going on in the world, right? So I'm taking my lead from my fellow minister, Dr. David Bruner, who loves to do Dr. Seuss, read Dr. Seuss from the pulpit, and then teach a lesson based on what was in the poem. I don't know, prose. I don't know. What do you call it? But anyway, Dr. Seuss has, for the kids, it's entertaining. For the adults, when you actually look at it, there's a good lesson in every single one of the Dr. Seuss books. And so today I'm going to be doing Gertrude McFuzz, one of my favorites. There once was a girl bird named Gertrude McFuzz, and she had the smallest plain tail ever was. One droopy droop feather, that's all that she had. And oh, that one feather made Gertrude so sad. She curled it, she dyed it, she gave it a puff. She decked it with flowers, but it wasn't enough. For no matter what, it was just what it was. A tail that simply wasn't meant to catch the eye of an elephant. The one feather tail of Miss Gertrude McFuzz. For there was another young bird that she knew, a fancy young birdie named La La Lelu. And instead of one feather behind, she had two. Poor Gertrude, whenever she happened to spy Miss La La Lelu flying by in the sky, she got very jealous. She frowned and she pouted. Then one day she got awfully mad and she shouted, "This just isn't fair. I have one, she has two. I must have a tail just like La La Lelu." So she flew to her uncle, a doctor named Dake. Sorry, I have to. Whose office was high in a tree by the lake. And she cried, "Uncle Doctor, oh, please, do you know of some kind of pill that will make my tail grow?" "Tut, tut," said the doctor, "such talk, how absurd. Your tail is just right for your kind of bird." Then Gertrude had tantrums. She raised such a din that finally her uncle, the doctor, gave in. And he told her just where she could find such a pill, on a pillberry vine on the top of the hill. "Oh, thank you," chirped Gertrude McFuzz, and she went straight to the hill where the pillberry grew. Yes, there was the vine, and as soon as she saw it, she plucked off a berry and she started to gnaw it. It tasted just awful, almost made her sick. She wanted that tail, so she swallowed it quick. She felt something happen. She felt a small twitch, as if she'd been tapped down behind by a switch. And Gertrude looked around, and she cheered. It was true. 2 feathers exactly like La La Lelu. Then she got an idea. "I know what I'll do. I'll grow a tail better than La La Lelu. Those pills that grow feathers are working just fine," so nibbled another one off of the vine. She felt a new twitch, and then Gertrude yelled, "Whee! Miss La La Lelu has only just 2. I have 3. When La Lelu sees this beautiful stuff, she'll fall right down on her face, sure enough. I'll show her who's perfect, I certainly will. Well, I'll make my tail even prettier still." She snatched up those berries that grew on the vine that gobbled down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And she didn't stop eating, Miss Gertrude McFuzz, till she'd eaten 3 dozen, all that there was. Then the feathers popped out with a zing and a zang. They blossomed like flowers that bloom in the spring. All fit for a queen, what a sight to behold. They sparkled like diamonds and gumdrops and gold. Like spaghetti, like satin, like lace. They burst out like rockets all over the place. They waved in the air and they swished in the breeze, and some were as long as the branches on the trees. And still they kept growing. They popped and they popped until long after sundown they finally stopped. "And now," giggled Gertrude, "the next thing to do is to fly straight home and show La La Lelu. And when Lala sees these, why, her face will get red, and she'll let out a scream and fall right down dead." She spread out her wings to take off the ground, but with all those feathers she weighed 90 pounds. She yanked and she pulled and she let out a squawk, but that bird couldn't fly, couldn't run, couldn't walk. All through the night she was stuck on that hill, and Gertrude McFuzz might be stuck up there still. If her good Uncle Dake hadn't heard the girl yell, he rushed to her rescue and brought along help. To lift Gertrude up almost broke all their beaks, and to fly her back home took almost 2 weeks. And then it took almost another week more to pull out those feathers. My, Gertrude was sore. And finally, when all the pulling was done, Gertrude behind her just had one. That one little feather she had as a starter, but now that's enough because she's smarter. I love the lessons that are in this book. The first one is that we judge ourselves, and it's funny. Like we're really hard on ourselves. We would never think of saying to a friend, you look so bad. Oh my God, look at all those wrinkles, We would never do that. But, when we look in the mirror and we see wrinkles, we say, oh my God, you look terrible. And so that's the message today. Well, one of the messages really is to lighten up and get out of our own way. Because so much of what we do is take ourselves and the world so seriously. And in all the things that we are going through in the world right now, lighten up is a great message to have. Like I said, I'm not here to talk politics. I'm only here to lift us up. So I try not to watch the news too terribly much. I watch about I don't even watch the news right now. I'm watching some of my friends who are activists and reading the articles that they have dug up. But I try to stop as soon as possible because if I watch the news, I'm affected so negatively that it makes it hard for me to be a minister, to uplift and inspire people, because what I really want to do is go to bed and put the covers over my head, right? But it's pretty interesting. Hang on a second. I forgot I put it in here too. Does anybody want to take a gander what the big message is here, or what any of the messages are? You can always post it in the comments if you want. First of all, envy doesn't pay, right? How many times are you envious of somebody only to find out, that their life is, you think is perfect, and then you look closely and you get to know them very well, and you begin to see that life at home is not what it looks like on the outside. I've done that. I had a friend who I thought had this perfect life. She had the exact right job. She had a husband that was, for all intents and purposes, he was perfect as what I could see. And so it looked like her life was just perfect. And I went over there for dinner one night, and she never stopped picking at her husband the whole night. And I realized she was complaining about her job. She was complaining about the house she lived in. She was complaining about her husband. And I realized that it wasn't perfect. And I think that's one of the lessons that we take from Gertrude McFuzz, is that no matter how perfect someone else's life appears to be, it is not. And so there's a level of acceptance we need to have about our lives and about ourselves. And so not envying others and accepting ourselves just the way we are is a perfect lesson. I have friends who work out all the time, and sometimes I go to the gym and I look at someone and I think, oh, what a great body. I wish I had that body. And then I realize how dedicated they are to working out. I just don't have that dedication to it. I could have that body if I really wanted it, if I was willing to spend 2 to 3 hours a day in the gym. But that's not me, and so I've had to come to the reality that this is my body and it's perfect for me. It may not be perfect in gym world, but it's perfect for me. It serves me very well. And so I've stopped being envious of other people, because I've realized that my life is perfect for me. My body is perfect for me. My house is perfect for me. My animals, my kids are perfect for me. And so I've learned to accept myself. And I think that's the biggest lesson that comes out of Gertrude McFuzz, is that she had to learn to appreciate herself just the way she was. And I can only be the perfect me. I can't be anything else other than that, right? Than the perfect me, because God doesn't make junk. I mean, if we are, in fact, as I believe, made in the image and likeness of God and made of God's stuff, then there's no mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't make junk. So, I had some waxing done this weekend, and the lady that does my waxing, we found this subject about self-esteem and how important it is. And she said, it's almost an insult to God when we say there's something wrong with us, because God, doesn't create mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. And so I kind of agree with her on that. God doesn't make junk. And so love yourself for who you are. And the truth is, Joyce said, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. That is a perfect point. We always look at that other side and think there's better grass on the other side. That's just part of being human, I think. But most of the time, actually, it's not as good as what you have. You just don't see it that way. And, wishing and hoping for something else only leads you to feelings of lack and limitation, or feelings of not good enough, or feelings of, we just have to love ourselves just the way we are. And it doesn't mean I don't want to grow. There's a song that I like to give everybody in the foundations class, the very first class that I teach, that Louise Hay produced. I'm trying to remember who the author, who wrote the song. Anyway, it's, I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. And I do that purposely so that people begin in that very first class to appreciate who they are and realize that just because they haven't grown to a certain place doesn't mean they're not perfect the way they are. And so I was watching TikTok one time, and this woman was talking about informations instead of affirmations. And I thought, yeah, that's really what it is. You're informing your body of what the true reality is. And so the subconscious mind then starts to fill in the blank. For instance, what she says is, instead of saying, I love my body, you say, why do I love my body so much? And let your subconscious mind fill in the blanks. And when the subconscious mind fills in the blanks, it's like cements that you love yourself, you love your body, whatever. And so when I asked the question, why do I love myself so much? My subconscious mind went to work on providing reasons. And isn't that an interesting idea? I like that. But you are who you're supposed to be. That's the fallacy of all of it. We think that, we are who we are is just what we were meant to be, and that's just not true, that we're not meant to be. We are who we are meant to be, and all of the circumstances and all of the things that happen to us in our life only help to further evolve our purpose and our being. So as I'm walking in the world, no matter what happens to me, it does contribute to who I'm supposed to be, right? We all get lessons out of everything. And the idea is to further evolve. And it's not like if I have this experience, it changes who I was supposed to be. That's never going to happen. We are who we're supposed to be, but it helps us develop past just the basics, right? And when you compare yourself to others, sometimes you come up short and sometimes you come up long, but in the process, you then hurt yourself. When you compare yourself to someone else and you find yourself better than that person, you've hurt yourself, because there's no such thing as I'm better than you, or you're better than me, or someone's better than someone else. There's just no such thing. And if you come up short, of course, then there's that, self-loathing that comes from I'm not as good, right? So humility is so important to the process, because I look at God and I'm in awe of everything that God has provided on this earth. I look at my wonderful trees. I talk about my trees a lot. You know that. They provide a lot of things for me. One is it shapes my porch. I'm not in the sun as much as I used to be. I used to be a sun worshiper, but I can't stand the heat anymore. But when we first bought this house, we would sit on the porch in the mornings because it was okay. But as the day went on, it got sunnier and sunnier and hotter. And then it became almost unbearable to be sitting on the porch. Now, if I had sat down and said, I want this kind of tree there, and I want this kind of tree there, and I want this kind of tree there, I don't think it would have turned out nearly as beautiful as it has. Now, because of the way the trees have grown, I can sit on that patio and I'm mostly in filtered sunlight or shade. And so I'll tell you a couple of stories about how that all came to be. I wasn't sure what kind of tree I wanted in front of the porch. I just knew I wanted something that grew fast. So Lynn and I went to this tree farm. And I told the guy, I said, I don't know what kind of tree I want. I just want a fast growing tree. So we're on this golf cart and we're going up and down the aisles, and he's going, what about that one? No, that's not it. What about that one? No. And he's giving me all these qualities about these trees, why I would want that tree or the other one. And none of them are really singing to me, right? And finally we go down this one aisle and he stops and he was starting to ask me some questions. And I went, no, there it is. And I jump off this cart, run over there. I think the guy thought I was crazy. I run over there. I find this tree. I put my arms around it. I'm petting this tree because it was giving off a vibration of love to me. That's how I interpret it. It just felt good. Everything about it felt good. And I knew that was my tree. So we bring it home. We planted it. That has been the happiest tree I have ever seen in my life. It has been so happy the whole time it's been here. And it probably took maybe 3 or 4 years before it just became so huge. It's an ash tree. It's a purple autumn ash tree. And no, it's not purple. It's purplish. The leaves are purplish in autumn. But when I picked it out, it was in spring. I didn't know. Excuse me. And then we pulled out these pine trees because they were putting sap all over my porch. And I said, well, let's get some crabapple trees that, I'd seen where you plant these crabapple trees and they kind of grow up as one tree. And so we planted those. And a few years later, this one branch decided to go like this across the porch. And my neighbor hates the canopy I have all in front of my porch, but I love it. Anyway, so this branch goes over. And the beauty of that was that I lost a bird to a predator one time. And we have these red-tailed hawks in the neighborhood. And I like to take my bird and sit outside on the porch, right? And so this branch would go up over him, and it wasn't that the hawk couldn't get there, but it would be enough of a hassle that I'd have time to get my bird off of this perch if I saw a hawk trying to navigate all the branches to get in there. Excuse me. Well, last fall, we finally cut down that branch because Buddy was using it to get up into the tree, and I couldn't have that. And my neighbor has been after me for a long time to cut that branch down, but I finally did it, and it's nice because the other trees are filling in so perfectly that we really don't need that branch that much anymore. And now that I have a Chihuahua, I have to be double careful, that the hawk doesn't get either the dog or the bird. But I have surrounded myself with beauty, so when I sit on the porch, it's lovely. But if I had planned it, I couldn't have done a better job. This is so a God thing. I look out there and I see just what God has created in my yard. And then, you know how, like, when you have trees or plants that pop up somewhere, how they grow more and prettier and are just wonderful where they decide to be? I've had several of those experiences. For instance, I really like my privacy on my porch. I don't like everybody seeing what I'm doing on my porch. Not that I'm doing anything. It's just, I don't like people watching me. And so we planted all these lilac bushes in my corner garden to provide some privacy for me, but they were not happy there. All they did was grow up, up. They didn't bush out. Lilac bushes are supposed to be bushes. They're not supposed to be trees. Well, they became trees. And so it wasn't blocking anything. So we dug them out and we put them by the driveway, and they've bushed out and been happy there ever since. And so one day I'm looking out there and I see where we dug up the lilac bushes, a mulberry bush. And I don't know anybody in the neighborhood or anyone I know personally that has a mulberry bush, except for Oz used to have one in Florida. And I know the scientific reason why it happened. I know that someone somewhere had a mulberry bush, a bird ate the seeds or something, and then pooped them out above my garden. But what's interesting is it provides exactly the right amount of privacy for me because it was the exact right spot to put it in. Now, I couldn't have, said, hey, I think I'll plant a mulberry bush right there and that'll provide me what I need. That was such a God thing. Another one is we used to have all these aspen trees along the north side of my house, and they have a lifespan of about 25 years. So their lifespan ended and we had to cut them all down. And like a couple years later, all of a sudden in the backyard, this aspen tree sprung up out of nowhere right next to my hot tub. And I thought about, what a perfect place for an aspen tree. Not that people would do that because it ruined the foundation of the hot tub, but it had water, it had light, it had everything it needed, and it was very happy there for about 10 years. And unfortunately, because it was restricted by everything that with the hot tub, it couldn't actually grow its roots the way it wanted to, so it eventually died. But I thought about that and how, God seems to know where things need to be, or, it looks like God did it. It looks like the tree did it, but I think God was behind it. Whatever. To me, that's a God thing. Another one is a long time ago, like, oh gosh, I don't know how long it's been now. We planted this stick tree, and it's a Royal Empress tree, which in China grows like a weed. In China, they have like a jungle of it, and they use it for dowries because the wood is hard enough for the dowry chest. And but it grows like a weed, and it's treated like a parasite. And so in order for them to be able to ship those to the United States, they had to sterilize the tree so it wouldn't grow it wouldn't propagate. So about 10 years in, I finally, because it was just a stick, a stick with a little root ball, you stick it in the ground. And I wondered what it was going to look like. It was supposed to have these itty bitty purple flowers that would be in bunches, so it would look like a bigger purple flower. And about 10 years in, I was in Florida and it finally blossomed. And my neighbor didn't get any pictures. She was the only one that got to see it. It's blossomed now like 3 times, I think. And I never get to see it. I'm always out of town. Doesn't matter when it is. And I'm always like, I'm in Vegas or I'm in Florida, or I never get to see it, but she gets to see it. And then about 6 years ago, I look out and all of a sudden there is another stick tree growing on the other side of my garden. Now, remind you, it had to be sterilized to get to the United States. It wasn't supposed to be able to propagate. But it did, and it's been very happy there. It hasn't blossomed yet. I think it takes about 10 years for them to blossom. But it hasn't blossomed yet, but it is really happy there. And so I look at all of that and I say, this is God's vision for what I needed. It's like we have a cookie cutter and we place the cookie cutter down and God puts the cookie dough in there, fills it up, because I decide what I want the outcome to be, but I don't try to micromanage God in any way. So one of the things that I think the lesson in Gertrude McFuzz is that giving up control and accepting things the way they are and being open to something better is the way to go. Because I couldn't have designed this the way it turned out. It wasn't me that designed it. Everything that's happened has happened kind of haphazardly, so to speak. Yes, I planted the trees, but I never expected them to fill in the way that they did. They repositioned themselves almost. It's not like they grew up in another place, but they moved into position. It's really interesting. I know that the sun has something to do with that they lean to try and get the sun. That's the scientific, logical reason for all of it. But I still say it is God in action. I still say that God sees a bigger picture and knows how to perfect the vision that I had, right? So that goes right along with accepting yourself for who you are and accepting your world for what it is. Because right now, so much is going on in the world that is uncomfortable. What I say is that we don't know exactly what God has in store for us. I know that everything happens for a reason. Who knows what that reason is? I would like to know, we all would, but right now it's not visible to us. So the third lesson, I think, is to trust that everything happens for a reason, to trust that we are where we need to be and who we are purposefully, and that whatever function we serve in the world is perfect for the world. And so being appreciative of who we are and where our place is and what our world, our internal world, I'm not talking about the outer world. The outer world, it's all co-created. All of us together have co-created this world. But the inner world and the surroundings, my house, my porch, my family, all of that is perfect. And while everything is going on in the outside of us that we have no control over, control's an illusion anyway, but we have no control over it. If our focus is on the beauty of our life, we are creating more beauty. And so when I say my life is perfect for who I am, it may not be perfect to you. You may not like my life. I might not like your life, but it's perfect for me. And I think that that is probably the greatest lesson we can have in any situation, is being appreciative of how perfect our world is for us. Will you do that with me this week? Will you focus your attention on that perfect life, whether it's your health, your love life, money, any of that? If you focus on the perfection that you already have, you will have more perfection and less turmoil. Will you focus on that this week? Let's have a prayer. So right now, I just turn my attention to the infinite power, the infinite presence, the infinite life of God. To that place within us that knows beyond human understanding just how perfect life really is. Just how perfect God flowing through us really is. Just how amazing God is. That is where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through all of life, as it flows through me here and now. I know that same truth to be so for the team that God has provided. For Faith and for Oz and for Karen and for Elaine and for Tina. For we are one in that life. We are one in that love, that power, that presence. And we are guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that does flow through all so perfectly. We are led to do what ought to be done by us. I know that same truth to be so for every person listening, whether that's in real time or later on. Because that perfection flows through all of us. That wisdom flows through all of us. That life flows through all of us. And it is the power and presence of God in that life that makes us what we are, and we are connected by it, through it, as it. Mitaku Yasin, all my brethren, we are related. So I bless this coming week. I know that as we begin to appreciate beauty as starts to appear, as we appreciate more and more of the beauty of our world, we create more beauty, more life, more love, more being, more power. We allow ourselves to flow or go with the flow of God, knowing that whatever reason God has for the way things are, they are just what they need to be for right now. We accept that. With that acceptance comes a peaceful, harmonious calm that flows through us. So I know that that truth is so for any name that is in the ministry of prayer, because I do know that whatever challenge anyone is having, experiencing, God is the answer. So I pull back that veil right now and show forth the beauty of God, the love of God, the power of God, the energy of God. I claim this for these names as good and very good in their name. My heart just fills with gratitude to know that this is the truth and it is done, and to be of service in this way. And so I just let it be, and so it is. Amen.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world.
Couldn't find the button, sorry. Thank you, Faith. Now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to share your feelings of gratitude for that which you have experienced in the physical realm, or perhaps you have created in the mind of God and have not yet experienced in the physical realm. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page is our offering affirmation. I'll have you say that with me. And then underneath that is a Contribute Now button. So let me just briefly talk about contributions real quick. When we're in a facility, you're paying rent and utilities, and the money that you're giving is paying for all of that. We're not in a facility, so there are no expenses like that. The only two expenses we really have, one is, well, of course, we have to renew our license, but other than that, we pay Faith for the work that she does, and we market to the world. And the reason we do that is because our vision is a healed world, and our mission to get there is healing the world one person at a time. Now, we can't do that if we can't market to the world, right? So unfortunately, it does cost money to do that. We already have people who will come visit us from Germany, the Netherlands or Holland, the UK or England, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Philippines. I think that's it. I can't remember now. But we really would like to reach the entire world because we want to make a difference. The truth is, I would like to uplift and inspire every person on the face of the planet to be better, right? So go with me now, please, to www.oasiscsl.org, whether that's in real time or later on, and say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Go ahead and hit that Contribute Now button and help us with our mission to get to our vision. Okay. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast that serve our church in 3 different ways. The first way is that they are available for prayer every day for a week. So if you would like prayer for something, put it in the comments section and they will start working on it today for every day for a week. And if you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith and she will make sure they get those prayer requests. We like to call our licensed practitioners the God Squad, because I had this vision like in 1998 of them marching in and taking charge. And so we've kept the team, instead of calling them our ministry of prayer, we call them our God Squad. So anyway, if you don't want it to be public, you can DM Faith and she'll make sure the God Squad gets it. All right, the second way that practitioners serve our church is by providing spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. Now, you in this particular time, that would be only Oz. So you can find him on Facebook as Bob Oswald and message him and let him know that you would like a session for spiritual guidance. Excuse me. I don't get involved in how to pay for it. Some practitioners use PayPal, some Wise, some Cash App, some Venmo, some Zelle. They have their own business, so I don't get involved in that. So message him. He'll let you know how to pay for it. And once you do that, he will video chat you at the appointed time for your appointment. It's a great service. Take advantage of it, because practitioners can know the truth for the spiritual truth for you until you can know the spiritual truth for yourself. The third way they serve the church is what Oz does every weekend just about for the last 5 years, and that is the 1-minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share with him what situation you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And he's available right after the service for that. Okay? All right. Next is, I have to press a button here. Next is Brooks and Bailey. These two ladies make wonderful jewelry. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. You can reach them by brooksandbailey0307@gmail or on their Facebook page. Whenever they have an event where they're going to have a booth, I always try to share that event so that you can go down and see the jewelry in person. They have wonderful jewelry. Like, they gave me one bracelet that has a circle and a bar that goes through it. I'm famous for losing bracelets. Like in Vegas one time, I lost a diamond watch. It just slipped off my wrist, and luckily somebody turned it in, so I got it. But so I'm always paranoid when I wear bracelets that they're just going to slip off somewhere. This bracelet has only come off once in 5 years, so they definitely have really wonderful jewelry. I usually focus my attention, though, on their mala beads, because the Hindus and the Buddhists use them for their chants. They move one bead at a time as they do the chant. And I say, if you're going to do 100 affirmations a day, this is a great way to count them off to make sure you're getting your 100 in. Not that there's a magic to 100, but the more you do, the more the pathways are created in the brain and the synapses fire better. These particular ones are amethyst, so they're $60, but they have $30 and up, depending on the gemstone that you want. The necklace has 108 beads, which makes it easy to do your affirmations once a day. The bracelets have 54 beads, so you can use the bracelet twice a day to get the same 100 affirmations in. So definitely check these ladies out. We like to support those who support us, for sure. And speaking of that, we have Fairy Lane Silver's website up right now. And she, for some reason, is not able to update her website to give you a way to pay. So she travels around the country singing and playing guitar, and she keeps the CDs in her car. So reach out to her by email. It's on the website. Once you figure out which CD you want, email her, let her know you want to buy it. She'll tell you how to pay for it. And she's very good at sending it out right away, so you'll get it right away. The other one is Karen Drucker's website. Again, we like to support those who support us, and these two ladies definitely support us. Whoops. All right, here you go. Go ahead. And her website does work, so you can pay for it right then and there. You can buy it by the song, by the karaoke file, in case you want to learn the song book, so you have the words. And also, some of her songbook pages have American Sign Language, so you can learn to sign them if you want. But anyway, check these two ladies out. Buy their stuff. Faith and I always recommend the Songs of Spirit series, which are chants from Karen Drucker. It's Songs of Spirit, and then there's Songs of Spirit 2, 3, and 4. Those are the best chants. The Lighten Up, I don't know what CD that's on. Do you? I'll have to look that up real quick. But anyway, if you enjoy the music in our church, definitely buy something from these ladies. It makes great gifts for other people as well as yourself. All right, and then check out our website, www.oasiscsl.org. Right now, we know we're out of date. I've had so many things happen that I have not been able to work on it. So I know it's out of date, but there's pictures there that show you who your spiritual family is. And so that's always a nice thing. In the meantime, if you want to revisit the sermons, they're on Facebook still. We keep them on there forever. But also on YouTube is the video sermons, and SoundCloud is the audio sermons from years prior. And that's all under S. Tucker. So you can listen to it there. Oh, Power of Women. Oh, I love that CD. Power of Women has so many good. It's the power of women. Oh, well, anyway. That's on Karen Drucker's website. All right. Here's Oz.
And I know as we go forward into the week that we are sitting in the lap of God. And even though the movie may be at times scary and at times hilarious, that the plot is unfolding itself as we watch. And I know that God's presence manifests itself in the entire scenario, and that we are comforted and supported by the ever-loving presence of God in all things, as each of us. I know this is good and very good, and I let it be so. And so it is.
And so it is. That was powerful. I love that prayer. That was great. I love that. All right. Join us next week and every week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time USA. And we're going to be continuing on with our spring series, such as it is. I don't have any titles yet, but we're gonna pull that together. We'd love to see you. Thank you so much for being here. There's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we are so blessed you were here with us. So in the meantime, stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Mhm.